Hi everyone, my name is Britain Cline, Ad Sales Manager, and welcome to this week's edition of Marketing Minutes by Scuba Diving Industry Magazine.
And hi everybody, I'm William Cline, the publisher, and if you're watching this new podcast, well, I guess we're now this is 11 now, so we're not really new, But if you're listening or watching this on the different platforms, reach out to Britain and I if you'd like to be on our show. We feature different companies every single week. So Britain, who do we have today set up to talk?
Yes, so today our special guests are Jeremy Gabrielson and Angelo Fiore, Vice President and Global Sales for NAUI. Guys, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome, guys.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you? Pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be with you guys.
So, it's so interesting that you're able to join us too, Jeremy, because June, can you throw up that slide that we just I sent you earlier? We ran this great article that you wrote for us back in the August issue about your experience at the Paris Olympics. So this is kind of paramount to what we're going to talk about a little later on and some of your community outreach and different programs. But thank you again for that great article. It was one of our most read issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very popular.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was a pleasure. Thanks.
Definitely. So, Angelo, just to kind of kick us off, let's start by maybe chatting about what's unique about NAUI. As we know, it's a nonprofit member-ran or association, but could you tell us a little bit about what sets NAUI apart?
Yeah, I think, it's kind of a unique story with NAUI because when you look at the history, you look at the traditions, and you look at, the formation of the diving industry, it's very captivating. In fact, for myself, way back in the day, there's this mystique about NAUI. There was this aura that surrounded the organization, and I can remember back in the day, in the 90s, or actually back in the 80s, my background in diving comes from the military as a U.S. Navy diver. So I had the opportunity when I was in the Navy to become a scuba diving instructor. And while I was becoming a scuba instructor, moving on years later, I saw an ad. I was a PADI instructor, actually. So when I came years later, I had always heard and listened about NAUI and the people that had come out of NAUI, whether it be Al Tillman and some of the other Lloyd Bridges and so many other individuals that it was very, just enthralling to listen to and be part of that history. But I saw an article that was in a magazine one time that was a picture of an instructor pushing in a video into a VCR. And it said, if this is your idea of an instructor, we don't want you. And it was captioned. So, and now mind you, okay, I'm a PADI instructor. I'm a U.S. Navy diver. And you can imagine the ego that surrounds these type of individuals. And I was like, man, I was so pissed off. I was like, how dare those guys? To the point where I was like, for the first time, I felt like I didn't belong. So years later, I had an opportunity to meet Chad Barbay, and he turned me into a NAUI instructor, and then later on into a NAUI course director. But what was so unique about NAUI was the ability to allow you to promote dive safety through education, through an academic freedom principle. And that was really making you into an individual instructor, a true instructor to share your experiences, present a lesson on how is best to accommodate your students. I truly believe that NAUI is the subject matter experts when it comes to in-water operations or underwater and underwater experiences. Whether it be through the universities, whether it be through organizations, municipalities, it truly offers that ability to be that subject matter expert that is, again, promoting it through dive safety through education.
For sure.
Well, that's amazing. Now I know it does have a lot of positive impact programs for the environment and community. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about those? I mean, I know that the Summer Olympics program last summer that Jeremy was involved with is a prime example of some things that you guys do that are a little bit out of the box.
Yeah, it's actually getting to that Olympic story was pretty funny actually, but and how it came about, but NAUI offers, NAUI, as a subject matter expert in dive safety through education, whether it's through collaboration, partnering, or whatever it may be, we do work with other organizations out there. And I was looking through your questions here, and obviously I see you point to, there's one organization that you point to is called Force Blue. But
Yes.
there are other organizations out there that, whether it be through the boys clubs or, different .orgs that are out there. Now he does collaborate and promote that innovative and dynamic approach to, make a positive impact on the environment and to make a positive impact on communities. So much so that now he offers an environmental enrichment award to those individuals and those organizations that are out there that are making that positive impact on the environment. And that criteria is on the NAUI website at naui.org. So people can go to the website, look what the criteria is,
Cool.
and be recognized for what they're doing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't one of the winners of the Wave Maker? The winner was a NAUI.
She was.
She works for you guys.
She absolutely
works for you
was.
NAUI,
yeah.
right? Yeah, that's really cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Really, really fascinating stuff, man. Especially the Olympics too. But I have kind of a two-part question here. So how is NAUI staying innovative and dynamic in the ever-changing market? And why should dive pros choose NAUI as their education agency?
Good question.
Apart from the
It is a good question, but I really believe that it's not anything that's like, oh, what are they doing? But it's just the general messaging of NAUI. Like, we're constantly coming up with new material. Right now, we are engaged in a translation project, to whereas we can go into different parts of the world with better materials that are translated to the indigenous languages that are there, so we're able to capture more market share. Because there is a global presence. The amazing thing to me was, as becoming in the global sales and traveling the planet, sometimes we get caught up in our own little bubble. We're here in the United States.
Yeah.
We see that perception of what it is. But when you go outside of the United States and you go to places like Brazil, or you go to places like in Europe, and they are so passionate about their sport, their education, how they promote it, and it really makes you feel proud that you're part of an organization that takes that innovation through, like, dive safety through education. It's truly the academic freedom that separates NAUI in that innovative and dynamic approach from the other organizations. So every instructor can go ahead and just mold that class to the individual needs that are present in that moment in time. You can constantly present a different class based on the individual's needs or the class's needs.
Well,
That's so important.
That's
Wow.
very important. So I know you mentioned earlier that the organization called Force Blue, and you happen to sit on the board of directors with Keith Sam, which used to, of course, run Sunset House down in Cayman, and then one of our regular writers and great friends, Dan Orr. In fact, my wife and I are going to this place on the western slope of the mountains this coming August to hang out at Yellowstone for a few days. But tell us a little about NAUI's involvement with Force Blue and kind of how that came to be and what it means to the community.
So I just want to circle back to that Olympics, because it's important to you really don't know, especially in the diving industry, who you're speaking to. Case in point, I have about 16 or 20 reps that work for me over in Europe, and I never knew this. I had to go over 2 years ago to make a presentation. And while I was making this presentation, I normally, a lot of times, will end my presentation with an image of Michael Phelps and Chad Leclose, who was the South African swimmer that Michael Phelps narrowly beat out in a famous underwater photo shot. And it was funny because as I ended, and basically the moral of that story is, don't focus on your competition. Focus on, your own stuff. Focus on the champion that you are, and worry about what you're doing. Be innovative and dynamic, and let the other stuff take care of itself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. So it was just so funny that somebody in the room raised their hand and made a comment about the photo, something to the fact that the South African actually won. And I was like, well, we got into this like discussion because, being an American versus the South African, I'm like, oh no, the American won. Right. But come to find out, I said, that's pretty intimate information you have right there. How do you know that? He says, well, I'm the one who took the photo. So I'm like, you got
Wow.
to be kidding me.
Wow.
So from there, it spun off to the point that now this guy works for me. All right.
Yeah.
And I knew he had an underwater imaging company, but I didn't realize how in depth he was, that he has the actual contracts to do the Olympics and all the swimming events globally. And so he offered me an opportunity to come to the Olympics, and my schedule was packed up. But at the same time, I was like, I asked Jeremy to go, and Jeremy did a fantastic job of going and
Yeah, no, great.
representing
He did.
the
That's
organization in that
great.
whole experience. That was pretty cool. But coming back, and I'm sure you guys will have a question for Jeremy, but coming back to the Force Blue organization, I'm actually not on the board of directors. I'm actually on the diving control board. The board of directors has actually grown, but you are correct that Keith Som and Dan Orr are several members, and along with Jim Ritterhoff, who is the executive director, they actually sit on the board of directors. Um, very early on, man, being a former special operation veteran from the military with and a background in that as a Navy diver, they had a friend named Rudy Reyes who was experiencing some troubling times. They took him down to Grand Cayman. He had an awesome experience, and from there they crafted this organization on a bar napkin.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Jim Ritterhoff and Keith Som, and I came in shortly after the bar napkin. And it was about building this organization that was focusing around a mission to preserve and protect, our environment, giving a cause to our warriors, and that was the premise of it. Whereas we could just give these veterans that next purpose. Like, these guys are used to running these up-tempo programs, these up-tempo careers, and they get out of the military on a Friday, and then come Monday they're working at Home Depot. And you're like,
exactly.
How do you transition from that? So there's a
Right.
lot of, in the veteran circle, a lot of suicides and that nature. And it's all about finding your purpose, that next mission. And that's what Force Blue does provide. It provides the next mission. Being associated with Force Blue, and then also having that joint venture with NAUI as the vice president in global sales, you're able to make that connection because, like I said before, NAUI is that subject matter expert. NAUI provides the platform that Force Blue is able to work off of and do all of these innovative and innovative projects that are globally right now. So it just helps Force Blue to maintain their mission readiness. Because of the academic freedom that NAUI offers.
That's amazing.
Without a doubt.
We've worked with Warfighter Scuba, with Dive Heart in the past, and I actually have reached out to Keith in the past. I need to probably follow up with him about running some comp ads for Force Blue, just because we really truly like to support those organizations, and we have space in our magazine that's available for them. So we got Long Beach coming up in just about a week and a half. I see you guys are going to be in booth 503.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, are you planning to go as well?
Yeah, I'll be in Long Beach. So I've never been to Scuba Show before. This will be my first one. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's great.
Fantastic.
That's great. Well, we look forward to catching up with you there. We're going to have a booth set up, a little studio set up in our booth, actually, because, this is a consumer show, obviously, and we're a trade publication. But we're going to use it as a chance to do some interviews. So maybe we'll grab you and bring you down to the booth, and we'll do a little follow-up on the Olympics if you want, and maybe what plans that you might have for coming up. I know they do a lot of different programs, not just the Olympics, that particular photography company, but we'd also like to hear maybe what else NAUI's got their hands in and involved in, and maybe some other of these kinds of opportunities we can chat about at the show.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're going to be in
that'd be
booth
great.
155. Yeah, that'd be good. We'd love to see you. So we're also less than 180 days to DEMA, which is hard to
Getting
believe. It's
closer.
rolling up to us, right?
It's scary.
So we know that everybody's working on DEMA plans. I plan to have you back on, Angelo, as we get closer to the show. Maybe we can talk a little bit about which kind of programs you have rolled in and excited for DEMA as the months go by. But Britain, who do we have lined up for next week?
Next week, our guest is going to be Patrick Danko, the dive market product manager for Garmin. So stay tuned for a very fascinating chat about what's new in the world of Garmin.
Yeah, Angelo and Jeremy, thank you again for being on. Do you have any closing comments you'd like to say to retailers or dive instructors out there that might be listening to resorts?
I would, simply say that I know that we're going into some, challenging times. Continue to support your local dive shop. Continue to, promote them. Continue to dive. Get out there, experience the adventure that's out there. Find a way to incorporate a mission into your scuba diving, whether it's linking up with an organization that allows you to do fish counting, that allows you to do coral restoration, any type of exploration, but get involved, because I think if you have the ability, you have the responsibility to promote how much the ocean means to us as humanity. But it's just a great message and just a great sport to be involved in. I'm just super proud that I was able to get on that path at an early age.
I'm
For
so
sure.
glad. So
Me
glad.
as well.
So listen, that's going to be the end of our podcast for today. Thank you again for being with us. And let's look forward to our next one, which should be coming up here next week. And thanks again. And we will see you, Jeremy, out in California.
California.
I'm you, Jeremy.
Thanks, guys. See ya.